You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Get ready for the greatest roast of all time, the Roast of Tom Brady, a Netflix live event happening May 5th. Hosted by Kevin Hart, the 7-time world champion gets his cleats held to the fire by famous friends and frenemies on an unforgettable night where everything is fair game. Tune in on May 5th at 5 p.m. Pacific time for the Roast of Tom Brady, live only on Netflix.
You ready?
Showtime.
On May 3rd, summer starts with The Fall Guy.
Let's do it later.
Let's drink a spicy margarita.
Make some bad decisions.
Yes.
Audiences are falling in love with the most entertaining film of the year.
Fall Guy.
Fall Guy?
Fall guy.
That's what the poster said.
See Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt in the movie critics say exists to make you happy.
Trying to make it out?
Nope.
Because I don't either. It's not what I'm into right now.
What are you into?
Talking.
Yeah.
The Fall Guy. Only in theaters May 3rd. Rated PG-13.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Billy, you were, and I know that's how you're built. You didn't want to receive the flowers for the great work that you did. That's a difficult production. Wrangling Stugotz when he's in Troy, Michigan.
Yeah, Detroitish.
Yeah.
Did you hear what my strategy with that was?
What was it?
Well, so we had a conversation beforehand, and we knew that it was in Troy, Michigan, but we also knew if he knew it was in Troy, Michigan, he was not getting on that plane. So I just told him, it's Detroitish. It's right around Detroit. But then when we were doing the bookings for the situation, Mikey, who's there with him, Danny, who's there with him, because it was in Troy, their hotel's in Troy. And we had a conversation, and we're like, well, they need to go to Detroit to do the interviews. And we're like, well, Stugotz is going to stay in Troy. We're like, maybe let's have him stay in Detroit, even though it's going to be a drive, because if he sees that he's not in Detroit, then it may be a challenge. So he didn't know until he was getting on the plane that was happening in Troy.
That's you knowing that Stugotz isn't actually going to do not going to put the work in to investigate exactly what his itinerary is.
Well, morning of, I got some text that he wasn't thrilled, but, by that point, what are we going to do?
You did a great job, and you've been consumed by all this.
I thank you first and foremost, but it was
Accept the flowers.
No, it was a team effort. Like the video team, there was a whole army of people that were here last night to put that on that you didn't see
I
behind
gave them
the
their
scenes.
flowers too, but you were traffic directing. You were hosting.
Also, Kirsten, Kristen, and Miss Cynthia. Oh my God, they took care of us last night.
They did great. They didn't order enough pizza at first, but they made up for it and they ordered more pizza later. They were like 3 boxes. Like, guys, we're adults here. What are we doing?
So you've had this to worry about. You have 2 kids. We've got playoffs going on. Your team had baseball's going on. Yeah. So I think you missed that it's Defenders Battlehawks week.
When did the XFL start?
Oh, that's XFL? I thought that was highlight.
It's not. It's not XFL anymore.
Wait, is that highlight? Legitimately, aren't those highlight teams
also? They do
also?
sound like highlight teams, but they're
when's that season?
Particularly the Defenders sound like one. That highlight season, Battle Court season is winding down.
Oh, XFL season?
XFL season's not XFL season. It's UFL season.
But it is an XFL still, right? Sort of?
There's an XFL conference.
In the UFL.
In the UFL.
Hold on. Let me get the info here. UFL.com. That's the University of Florida's website.
Really?
How the hell do we find this?
This
is week 5?
It's week 5.
Wow. Where are they on? I'm not trying to be rude. Where are they on? How do I watch them?
They're on ESPN, ABC, Fox, FS1. Oftentimes they're going up against playoff games. So the visibility, and also I think what the XFL did so well, especially in 2020, which is like the heyday of spring football, and then COVID, along with other things, ruined it. One of my least favorite things about COVID, it killed the XFL. V2.
One of the saddest heydays of all heydays. The heydays of spring football.
Should they have just played through?
That's what Vince was trying to do. And if you asked Aaron Rodgers, he would have said absolutely. But he took the insurance money, and I think he sued Andrew Luck's dad. It's a whole thing. But
Aaron Rodgers?
So here's what the XFL got right last year is when you're at your most just peak football form is the Super Bowl. Is the Super Bowl. And what they did last year was Super Bowl in XFL season. You got American football on the brain, pigskin on the brain. You got your XFL, and you keep that momentum going. Now, because of all the antitrust issues that this merger presented, the merger itself being complicated, they had to cool off on the idea of starting right back up after the Super Bowl. So you had this thing start up as all the other sports are starting to build the crescendo.
So if this is week 5, did they start in the middle of March Madness?
Yeah.
At the heart of college basketball.
Yeah, they went
season.
directly up against March Madness. And by the way, they had good ratings on the outside. I don't think that they've maintained those, and visibility is an issue to the point that they have a marquee matchup right now. Battlehawks, Defenders, that's the best crowd. Those are the best two
Stallions are on fire right
Stallions
now.
are they're a USFL team, but
plus 41 right now.
I'm an XFL fanboy. I think that they should have maintained XFL branding. I understand that has baggage, especially when you add the Vince stuff in there. But this UFL thing, taking the name of an already failed league, it just adds to the confusion. At this point, I would have been fine with USFL, but keep a branding that would have been familiar, and it's a real bummer. But if you're going to watch one game, make it
I'm
Battlehawks.
not, just for the record. But if I was.
You can just end the sentence there.
AJ McCarron's having a good season. JPZ is now.
AJ McCarron, really?
Yeah, AJ McCarron's there. There's not a lot of. So the union that's working for the XFL, well, the UFL players is actually the Steelworkers Union.
You have an uphill battle, as Chris just said off air, where if LeBron's not interesting him, AJ McCarron's not going to get it done.
Noted.
If I were to get into the UFL, now seems like a good time because 2 weeks from now, the Battlehawks take on the Stallions, where you're going to have the best of both conferences.
That's AJ McCarron on the
so
Lakers.
You can kind of just
me.
start, greasing the wheel here with my USFL.
Just put
or
it
UFL,
on your radar.
Whatever.
No one's talking about it. I think that might be with or without good cause, but I mean, The Rock's barely talking about it right now.
Hey everybody, it's Mike, and typically I record these Miller Lite spots in the studio, but I requested that I specifically record this one from my home office because I got a window and I'm looking outside at those beautiful fishtail palms, knowing that in just a few seconds I'm going to go out there, I'm going to crack open a can of Miller Lite, because while sitting outside by my fishtail palms is usually a good time, I like to take it up a notch and make it a Miller time. That's right, you crack that puppy open and you don't have to think about what you're drinking for a darn second. A lot has changed over the years, including my backyard. Lots of landscaping being done right now. But the one thing that hasn't changed is the undebatable quality of Miller Lite. You don't have to choose what quality is the best. Miller Lite has great taste, and it's less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Don Le Batard.
Sugar daddies. These things, I'm telling you.
I love sugar daddies.
They get stuck in your teeth. Like,
What?
you can't chew them. They're like impossible to chew. They are impossible to chew.
Every day.
Stugotz.
Hell yeah, brother.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Stugotz, I don't know what is known publicly about the feud between Nick Wright and Mina Kimes and Pablo Torre, but I think because Nick Wright says everyone his age must be vanquished, I believe that Pablo and Mina have surpassed Nick recently because I think they just recently got to do a celebrity game show together. Is that something that's public yet? Is anything known about what's happening here in the rankings between Nick Wright, Mina Kimes, and Pablo Torre? The reason I bring all of this up is to introduce our guest. This is a personal favor to Nick Wright. Nick Wright has said that Danny Parkins is his best friend and that he's got a great book, and that the book is called Pipeline to the Pros, How D3 Small College Nobodies Rose to Rule the NBA.
I have Mina 1, Pablo 2, Nick 3rd. I mean,
okay, well, there has been there's been some movement recently in the rankings, and Danny, I introduce you that way just to tell you that Nick Wright has highly endorsed what it is that you've written, which is basically how people like the Van Gundys were able to make their way into the sport and have some power over it, correct? And thank you for joining us, by the way.
Thank you for having me on. It is an honor. And yes, thank you to Nick Wright. I'm shameless in this regard. I was like, hey, can you help introduce me to people that I don't know? And he came through in a big way. But yeah, the book, Jeff Van Gundy wrote the foreword, and it's basically a story of how these guys who have no business being in the NBA based on their basketball talent got into the NBA through their knowledge, and they've kind of taken it over throughout NBA history, they made a big impact, but now their impact has never been bigger. You know, we know 12 of the teams right now, the top 6 seeds in each conference, 5 of those 12 have a president or GM that played D3 ball. 3 of those 12 have a coach who played D3 ball. So their influence has never been bigger than it is right now.
Well, when you're saying taking it over, though, are you talking about like Sam Presti now being a number 1 seed? What do you mean taking it over?
Yeah, breaking in, taking it over as Sam Presti, Brad Stevens, Greg Popovich, Jeff Van Gundy, Stan Van Gundy, guys like that, and hiring their friends and being at the forefront of the modern NBA movement, whether you want to talk about analytics, hiring, firing, style of play. These are some of the brightest minds in basketball, and they have very similar backgrounds.
What is it that you found interesting about how you were tying all of these people together? What is it about a basic, pure love for basketball that has to be fed at the hungriest level? And if you're not evolving as these people, because you're not the most disadvantaged, but this is a hard way to get to the pros.
Yeah, constantly being doubted, I would say. I mean, Jeff Van Gundy, a story that blew me away. He gets the job as the interim head coach of the Knicks, and the New York Daily News writes a column listing the odds at who the next head coach was going to be for the Knicks. And, you know, Larry Brown is the favorite. John Calipari is the second favorite. And then they got a little disrespectful. They put 71-year-old Lou Carnesecca on there at 5,000 to 1, Red Holtzman at 76 years old at 1,000,000 to 1, and Jeff Van Gundy at 50 million to 1 odds to be the next head coach of the Knicks. And he has the job. So these guys have been doubted every step of the way. People in San Antonio wanted Greg Popovich fired when he already had the job in 1997 to the tune of 92% in a poll done by a local newspaper there. So these guys were doubted every step of the way, even when they got into the NBA. And I think the humility from the D3 background, you know, seeing their coaches or being the coach who would drive the van to the games or have to lose the home gym to the volleyball team, do the laundry, things like that. It's a real for the love of the game story, and so that's one of the first things that drew me to it.
Who do you regard as the biggest or most interesting story in your book? Biggest is a bad way to ask it. The most uncommon and most interesting, according to the author who was following all of these tales.
So Jeff Van Gundy's a pretty interesting one. He was the transfer portal before there was a transfer portal. He is the only human in the history of humans to go from Yale to Menlo Junior College, because at Yale they said, we're not going to let you try out for the team anymore. But he's like, no, I got to play ball. So he goes to Menlo. Then he goes to Brockport to play for his dad. Then they fire his dad at Brockport, and he ends up at Nazareth. So 4 places in 4 years, and all for the love of the game. So, I mean, that one stands out. Brad Stevens worked at Eli Lilly. Kobe Altman was a real estate broker, and then he gets in with Dan Gilbert, who made his money in mortgages. So many of these guys have diverse educations and backgrounds, and then they apply those skills to the NBA. But no one's path is quite as unique as Jeff Van Gundy's.
What did you find out about Sam Presti?
Secretive. We got strung along by the Thunder in ways that were very upsetting. Over 100 back and forth correspondences. And, you know, he was hired by Pop. Pop taught all of his lieutenants to be secretive. One person at Pomona, an academic advisor under Pop, said the first rule of Greg Popovich is we don't talk about Greg Popovich. And Sam Presti is proud of his Emerson days, but he does not like to divulge state secrets, even though he's hired a bunch of D3 guys. He emails coaches at successful D3 programs with excellent academic institutions, mining their rosters for interns, G League coaches, video coordinators. Like, he's very proud of this story that paints him in an excellent, excellent light, and he just has no interest in speaking on it.
I have some questions for you about Popovich, but as the Thunder are the number 1 seed, can you explain to me how it is that Presti gamed this system, a system that locks these young players into a city they'd never play in if they weren't locked into a system that forces them to play there for several years?
I mean, the simplest way to put it is asset allocation, right? He has no problem being a deal maker, wheeling and dealing, acquiring a ton of draft picks. And to your point, what can Chet Holmgren do? What can SGA do? The league is set up that he is this unbelievable evaluator of talent. We saw it going back to the Harden, Westbrook, Durant days. I talked to people who said he would be the pick of every owner if there was a free agent class for GMs, because he'd be the guy you'd pick to start the team because he has a higher hit in the draft than anyone. That's the only way you can win in Oklahoma City. So he looks at it as acquire assets, throw as many darts at the dartboard as possible, trust his intellect, trust his scouting, trust his staff, and then he will get these players into contract situations where it's advantageous for them to sign that second contract with the team that drafted him, and that's what he's going to continue to do.
Danny, can you please explain to the audience the degree of difficulty and the improbability in being a market like OKC and going from Harden, Durant, Westbrook? Obviously, you're not going to be able to keep all of them for their Hall of Fame careers to it gets flipped over, and now they're the 1 seed.
And quickly.
I mean, explain. You guys are on South Beach. You know the advantage that you have in free agent recruitment every single year. Pat Riley dumping his rings on the table. Sam Presti has absolutely no institutional advantage whatsoever other than the institution that he has created. So how rare is it? How improbable is it? We've never seen anything like it. The places that are dynastic in the NBA or that continue to get top talent are the heritage franchises. Boston, LA, places that have geographic or tax advantages like Miami. There's nothing that's ever been like this. The only way Milwaukee can win is because they hit on a pick like Giannis. D3 guy, by the way, John Hammond, made that pick. But it's just an incredible ability to look for talent in unconventional ways and lock these guys into bad contracts.
Can you see Presti ever leaving Oklahoma City?
No.
Why?
I think that he has all of the power. I think that he has all of the power there, and he can get anyone hired that he wants, and he has built this roster in such a way that I don't know what the deal would have to be to come along for him to move. I think he has everything that he wants there in terms of ownership support, and he knows that he can keep getting these draft assets to build the team. He's going to certainly see this young run through. So, I mean, I think we'd be talking a decade down the road.
What did you learn about Popovich?
Other than the secrecy, I would also say loyalty. His people love him, and he has taken this ability to be worldly and to be interesting and to scout internationally and to care deeply with these players and to say, we are going to do team dinners in the theme of the country at which you are from, but I'm still going to be the one to pick the wine, and you're going to love the wine that I ordered because I am so studied in it and so well read. He is a truly incredible person who no one has a bad word to say about, and he treats them as human beings first and foremost. And if they hadn't changed the tenure rules on him at Pomona, he probably would have stayed there. He looked at himself as a pure teacher, an educator. He opened his D3 or his Hall of Fame speech when he got in finally to the Hall of Fame this year with, how did this happen? I'm a D3 guy. Like that's how he truly looks at himself as a teacher who just happened to be teaching guys now at the highest level.
David Robinson, that's how it happened.
Yeah, that's probably
Tim
true.
Duncan.
Do you have a top 5 list that you could give us here as we head into the playoffs? I will give you the name of the book again to give him time to assemble in his head the top 5 nobodies in the 2024 NBA playoffs. I'm assuming he can do this because he's been researching a book. These books are comprehensive. They are thorough. You have to, if you're going to write Pipeline to the Pros, how D3 small college nobodies rose to rule the NBA, you have to be informed. So let's do this. Are you ready, Danny Parkins? You ready to top 5 nobodies in the 2024 NBA playoffs?
Yeah, can I give you an honorable mention first?
OLI,
Yep.
Go ahead.
OLI, yes. I will pander to Miami, but it is true. Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson goes to Williams College before Michigan. When I contacted him to talk about the book, he was like, finally, someone's telling this story. He chose Williams because he knew of the pipeline, thought he could get into the NBA as a video coordinator. And if his head coach doesn't leave Williams after his freshman year, he maybe plays all 4 years at Williams. His coach happened to be a John Beilein guy, so that's how he ended up at Michigan, and now with an $80 million deal.
Number 5.
Kobe Altman. played at Middlebury, an assistant coach at Amherst, rebuilt the Cavs. That's where he met my co-author, by the way, Ben Kaplan at Amherst College. This was a successful real estate broker making mid six figures who decided he wasn't happy, got back in at the lowest rungs of basketball, found himself in the Cavs organization, and bonded with Dan Gilbert over the real estate business. And now he rebuilt the Cavs after LeBron.
Number 4.
The combination. I'm going to combo here. Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose, New York Knicks. Salem State, Dickinson. It's pretty remarkable. Like, if I would tell you that the Knicks were going to hire a former agent who had never run a team for the sole purpose of recruiting big free agents, but he hires a coach who flamed out of his last 2 jobs, and his only big free agent is Jalen Brunson, the son of Leon Rose's first client, Rick Brunson, people would say the Knicks are dysfunctional, but now they're the 2 seed in the East.
Number 3.
Chris Finch. This guy was a hooper. Franklin and Marshall, probably the best basketball player, D3 guy that we talked to who's in the NBA other than Duncan Robinson, head coach of the 56-win Timberwolves, multi-time All-American, true grinder, coached in Europe, coached in the G League. Now he's coaching the T-Wolves.
Number 2.
Sam Presti. Wow. President of the Thunder. We covered it. This guy, they didn't have a home gym in Emerson. They took MapQuest directions to home games. After his junior year, he made his teammates sign a commitment letter in order to say, if you guys follow all of the things that I've outlined here, we will make the NCAA tournament. Spoiler alert, they did not.
Who's number 1, Stugotz? Who's number 1? Stugotz, who you got? Who's number 1?
I can't even venture a guess, to be honest with you. I thought Sam Presti was going to be number 1.
Not Popovich, not Brad Stevens.
Well, Popovich is not in the postseason.
Pop's not in the playoffs.
Okay,
right.
Number 1, Brad Stevens.
Yeah, Brad Stevens.
I ruined it.
Stole your thunder.
I ruined it. Okay, my bad.
No,
his list, Dano. I mean,
it was the only option left on the board. Let's be honest. I mean, the guy worked at Eli Lilly, proving he could do anything. He had a job at Eli Lilly, but his senior year decided he was going to take an education course because his fallback plan was to be high school basketball coach. He would have happily coached D3 his entire life if the Butler coach didn't leave. He gets the Butler job. The rest is history.
Danny, I'm just saying, imagine what Presti could do in a city where players want to live in. I mean,
I agree with you, but he doesn't seem to have any interest in it. He seems to love the thing that he's built there. It's not like other teams haven't tried to hire him before.
No, but this is Stugotz's move. Wait a minute. Somebody's good. Why is he still there? He should leave, get something better.
Brad Stevens in Boston. Guys want to live there.
I know. But you just don't understand somebody who doesn't get someplace and say simply more. More. Presti, you don't understand. If he can have all of that there, why wouldn't he choose to have more elsewhere if he can have any job that he wants?
But if he's so good and the one obstacle that he has is getting players who want to live in his city and stay in that city, why not Boston? Why not LA? Why not New York? I want him on the Knicks team.
There are no obstacles to what it is that he's doing. If he can lock a young player in at a reasonable contract into a city that he's got to be there for 7 years.
Yeah.
Like, if you're really good, if you're better than everyone else at picking players, if you're willing to trade Paul George so that Uncle Dennis and Kawhi can have whatever they want, I can't believe that this dude has changed the game from Oklahoma City. Like, that part's nuts. He has no right to have game the system when Pat Riley can do it with LeBron James and state taxes.
It's completely insane. He is the best at what he does in the NBA. Brad Stevens is probably a close second, but it is a remarkable accomplishment. I'd like to see him with the resources. I think we all have a little Stugotz in us, as you guys like to say. Sam Presti seems to be the exception to that rule.
Andy Ellisberg would like a word.
Andy Ellisberg of the Miami Heat would like a word, Danny. He might be a D3 guy too, actually. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. It's an absolute honor to be on this show. Thank you. And thank you to Nick Wright.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Don Le Batard.
You got to know I'm a big Colombo guy. Salute to that boy.
Okay, I don't think that's proof. I don't think that's proof. I think that could be. I think that's a lie. I don't think that's.
He said salute.
I don't think that is evidence. Salute to that boy. It suggests camouflage. It suggests that Juju has no idea what we're talking about, and now is just Googling it.
Stugotz.
I'm not Googling it. My grandmama stayed in the country. I watched the Braves. I watched Colombo. I watched Matlock. I watched Andy Griffin.
Yeah.
Salute to you, sir. But you go to the penalty box, Dan.
You tell him.
Take your ass to the penalty box.
You tell him, Juju.
Call me a liar.
You tell him, Juju.
Back to you, Stu.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I'm going to read the headline, and then I'm going to go into the story. So here's the headline. And I would love for it all to be a slow reveal, but the headline is just so good. I sent it to Pablo on Friday or Saturday night, like 9 p.m. I saw it and I said, this is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to do with my life. The headline is, and it's from Fightful.com. The Undertaker, a 7-year-old named Bjorn threatened to shoot me in the face and called me a Democrat. Now, there's a couple things here. Number one is that I feel like, and maybe this is just me not seeing it, I feel like there's a lack of just total shithead kids anymore. Because when I like, you'd always see like 7-year-olds, in like 1999, and they were just absolute terror.
You don't play video games online?
I don't. What's going on there?
That's a lot.
Oh, they're indoors now. That's the thing.
Yeah, the kids are inside.
They used to be at parks.
Yeah, like Dennis the Menace style.
Yeah. There's no more. Dennis the Menace now is in a house saying racist stuff on chats.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, well, if Katie speaks, they go, "Ooh, it's a girl. Ooh, show me your boobie." Like, they don't say boobies, but I do a lot in this podcast.
Let's get into the story here. It's a 5-minute story. Cortez was upset that it's so long we can't just play the entire video.
Yeah.
It is tempting, though.
It is an unbelievable story. So someone on the WWE security team this is at WrestleMania a couple weeks ago, tells Undertaker, who and more power to him, refers to himself as the Undertaker many times in this story. His name is Mark. I believe it's Mark Calloway. I believe it's Mark.
Mark William Calloway, age 59.
59-year-old.
59.
So
what an Undertaker.
One of the security detail guys is a former Navy SEAL. His son is a huge fan. Now his son is named Bjorn, as we discussed, and the former Navy SEAL does not want the Undertaker to call him because he just wants to be professional about it.
I told the guy, I said, hey, I hear your son's a fan. I said, would you like for me to call him? And he was like, oh, no, don't worry. He was just totally, being professional, yep. And I was like, no, it's okay. I said, I know Larry. Larry sent me a text and he was like, man, he goes, no, it's he's still trying to get out. I said, just let me FaceTime him real quick. And, and he goes, well, can't FaceTime him. And I'm like, okay. And he says, but if you would call him, that would be awesome. And I was like, yeah.
The dad says, you can't FaceTime him.
Okay.
Red flag. So he gets on the phone and says, Bjorn, this is the Undertaker. And he says, hey, Undertaker, how are you? Undertaker starts to mess with him and says, sounds like you're getting in trouble at home.
So I start messing with him like I do everybody, right? I was like, Bjorn, it sounds like to me you're getting in some kind of trouble at home, aren't you? He goes, no, I'm not getting in any trouble. I said, no, I'm pretty sure it sounds like you're up to something. I don't know what it is, but I can tell you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. He goes, I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to be doing. You're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. I was like, no. And then this 7-year-old kid goes, hey, I'll shoot you right in the face. I about lost it, right? I said, what? You're going to shoot me? And now his dad is mortified, right? He is just like, oh my gosh. I put him on the phone. Now he's threatened the Undertaker. So anyway, so I was like, you're not going to shoot me in the face. I'm going to shoot you in the face, right? So now I'm having an argument with a 7-year-old about shooting him in the face, which I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but it was all in good fun. You had to be there
for the moment.
So anyway, so we're going back and forth right now. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he goes, well, you're a Democrat. I'm like, I'm a Democrat. Where did that come from? What does that mean to you?
There's a couple things here. I would, there's bricking the conversation, which you would do like he got so excited that he misread this. Bjorn got so excited he misread the situation and ended up threatening to shoot the
Named
Undertaker.
after a Viking, by the way.
In the face.
I feel like Bjorn was like, this guy comes back from the dead, so let's see what's up.
I feel like Bjorn was being accused of some wrongdoing.
Yes.
Bjorn, being 7, definitely has done something wrong within the past week. This dude is with his dad, and so he's like, I have to back this guy down, or he's going to tell my dad about the bad stuff I did. Because when you tell a 7-year-old you know what they've been up to, the first thing they think is like, shit, I have been up to some stuff.
It's like who was the comedian that had, just as an experiment, had everybody send their significant other a text that just said, I haven't been completely honest with you.
Yeah.
And then just saw what the person would respond, what their significant other would respond with.
Yeah.
That's basically what Taker did to Bjorn.
Yes. I was afraid when I was first watching the video that the little kid was going to be like, yeah, I took some money from my mom. Like he was going to admit the thing he did.
He did something far worse.
A guilty conscience is what you detected with Bjorn.
He's a violent 7-year-old.
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to shoot him in the
politically
face.
violent.
And also, you know, if you shoot the Undertaker in the face, he's just going to come back. It's not going to do anything.
Maybe that's the problem, is he didn't
You can't be a
understand
big fan of The Undertaker and not know that shooting him in the face isn't going to get you anywhere.
The Undertaker in 2020 donated $7,000 to Donald Trump.
I mean, 7,000, what's the point?
I mean,
Thanks,
that's the
but no
that's
thanks.
the federal maximum for a in-character wrestler.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Taker LLC.
But the question, the beyond the specifics of the Undertaker arguing with a 7-year-old about who should be shot in the face or not, it does raise the question of like, when you were kids, were there people that you were so excited to meet that you had, this memory that continues to persist? I was an altar server. The priest. This is not where this is going.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. This ends without indicting the Catholic Church.
Sure.
Sure. The priest was the team chaplain of the New York Yankees.
Huh.
And so, what a thrill for me, native New Yorker, giant Yankee fan, to be an altar server. And our parish priest is the team chaplain of the New York Yankees.
Okay.
And I say, Father McMahon, I would love an autograph from my favorite New York Yankee, Derek Jeter.
Unique. Interesting pick.
Good one.
And weeks later, I get a signed, I think it was like, what was it? It was a team program. And it says on the program, and I still have this, it says, whatever, best wishes to Pablo Torre from Derek Jeter. And the disappointment is that he misspelled my last name. He spelled it T-O-R-E.
Excuse me.
T-O-R-E.
Pablo Torre.
Yeah.
Which was disappointing to me because his f***ing manager
I was
going to
say,
last name
what do you mean?
As me, Joe Torre. And he bricked the interaction.
Yeah.
Derek Jeter bricked the autograph.
All right, so I
resent him.
Okay, why was he putting last names on?
I don't know.
And also,
Just say
best
Pablo.
wishes to a child is
Best
wild.
wishes to Pablo.
Yeah.
Hey, Pablo.
Hey, Pablo,
Keep
thanks for
on.
watching, buddy.
Thanks for watching. Go Yanks.
Hey, amigo.
Go Yanks, pal. Did he break the interaction more or less than you with Daryl Morey?
Oh, boy.
Neither of us emerged looking great.
I don't remember how old I was. I did meet Nadia Comaneci. She was the first gymnast to get a perfect 10.
Yeah.
And I just remembered telling her I liked her, and she put her arm around me. And she, look, as a little kid, I had a tragic haircut. I had a little boy haircut. And
Can we get a photo of this?
No.
Okay.
And so I feel
Cortez.
like at any point in any interaction with any adult, I got immediate sympathy because I think they knew that, like, what, this poor kid doesn't want this haircut. Their mom is making them do this.
This
There's
isn't
no
going
way
well
they're
for
the most popular kid among their friends. So they always gave me the, like, oh, like I always got that energy as a child because I think they were like, what a precocious young lady who looks like a news anchor.
Yeah.
And so that's basically the energy.
I had that being a fat kid.
Yeah.
Like I was always
Can we get
the
a photo
kid.
of that?
Yeah, we can with Stephanie McMahon.
Cortez?
We can do a Stephanie McMahon photo, which will tie into the era of WWE I watch. Also, a photo of Vince McMahon. Cannot put that photo up anymore.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm alarmingly fat in both photos. But I was always the kid who, like, I'd get like, I was a big hockey fan. I'm the one they flipped the puck to because I looked so fat and childish. I'm currently a fan of the New York Rangers. I was a fan of the Orlando Solar Bears when I was a kid.
Orlando Solar Bears?
That's not a real team.
Like polar bears?
No, I just said Solar Bears.
But for the sun.
I'm not drawing the connection.
Yeah, all right.
And so I was a big fan of the Solar Bears growing up.
I love that. But you were saying, as a hockey fan.
Oh, and so I'd always be the guy where they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna give the puck or the stick to this kid because he's fat and he's not having a good go of it." You can tell.
Yes.
And so I'd always clean up that way.
Yes. You're so cute. Wait. Let me see it again.
Who's not flipping a puck to that kid?
The fact that you're also wearing like a big polo shirt.
Yeah.
It's like this little gentleman's working. He's working out an office.
The big polo is back.
The polar bears.
The Solar Bears.
Yeah, the big polo bears.
It's only a kick, a jump, a block. It's only a serve. It's only a tackle, a run. It's only for the fans. After all, it's only pressure. You got this. Adidas.
Don Le Batard.
Number 3, Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
Yeah, we can get mine.
Love it.
I mean,
Nah, I think it's an overrated fry.
you guys go ketchup or Chick-fil-A sauce when you have the Chick-fil-A fry?
Polynesian sauce.
Polynesian, baby.
Wow.
That's my brother right there.
Good call.
You're my brother.
Stugotz.
Oh my God.
What a weird interaction.
Wow. This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Welcome back to the show. Charlotte Wilder, Amin Hassan, as always. It's time for the segment that you know, that we love, that we love, that you know, that you love.
Sure.
We love this segment. It's Lie Detector, Amin, and this time it is complete with new oddball technology to aid both of us in detecting lies heard around the NBA.
Whoa!
Amin, we're going to start with you. And if you are listening to this and you are not watching on a visual medium, which you should be, YouTube, DraftKings Network, Amin has been outfitted with very state-of-the-art technology. It is a cord that goes underneath his nose so he can sniff out the lies.
You also have been hooked up with some state-of-the-art space-age technology. Got a little antenna on top so you can pick up the vibes, the lying vibes.
Yeah, if there's a lie, I feel it, and it just goes right through these cords and zaps me a little bit, and that's how I can tell. And I mean, we're going to start with the Athletic Anonymous survey, because Rudy Gobert was voted the most overrated player in an anonymous survey. And Gobert's response was, quote, "I'm more like the odd guy from France." Excuse me. I am more like the odd guy from France that's winning a lot of awards. I trigger a lot of these guys. I mean, is Rudy Gobert lying when he says that he wins a lot of awards and triggers a lot of guys who think he's overrated?
Well, hold on. I'm getting a reading. It's clear that Rudy Gobert is lying because he knows it's not because of the awards. And also, he says in his quote something about like, oh, it's because I'm a winning player and I do things, but it's not flashy, and that's why. And it all smacks of someone who just has very low self-esteem because everybody hates him.
As we said, the most tortured player on the Timberwolves.
Yeah, so I'm going to say, yes, the lie detector has to determine that was a lie. Well, Charlotte, your system is a lot more sophisticated because of that antenna. I can actually have video transmitted directly into your brain.
Oh.
And that way I don't even have to read the quote. So this is Joe Mazzulla was asked if he was bothered that no Celtics were nominated for any individual awards.
No, not at all. I think it's beautiful. Why would you get an award for the past?
Charlotte, is Joe Mazzulla lying?
Whoa. Oh, gosh, that was quick. It came to me. No. Joe Mazzulla is not lying. He does think it's beautiful that no one on his team that he is the head coach of was nominated for a regular season award.
He thinks it's beautiful.
He thinks it's beautiful. He thinks that means that you're doing it right. He thinks that means that is what real basketball is about, not the past, not the awards. All that matters is winning. I don't know. I mean, I don't even fully know what that means. Why would you get an award for the past? Like, that's what every award is.
Yeah, they don't give future awards, as far as I know.
Yeah, but no, Joe Mazzulla is telling the truth. It just doesn't make any sense.
I just want to point out that, when I played that video, I used this very state-of-the-art controller here. It said trigger on it, and I hit trigger and sent those videos
That's
to you.
amazing.
All
Wow,
right.
technology.
What's next?
Next up is Devin Booker.
Let me get into... Okay.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Devin Booker said after the Suns lost again to the Timberwolves, he said, "Don't count us out. It's a series for a reason." Is Devin Booker lying? You getting a reading there? I see it coming through.
Getting a reading. Oh, it's coming. It's the truth.
Really?
If you're the Phoenix Suns, you walk away saying they won the first two at home. That's what they're supposed to do.
Oh.
Now we go home and we hold serve. Also, maybe just quite slightly, you have to have some confidence that, hey, we swept this team in the regular season. They've had two great games. Now it's time for us to have two great games.
Okay. I like that. Here's another one for you, Amin.
Yes.
Naz Reid was named 6th Man of the Year.
Okay.
He beat out Malik Monk by 2 first-place votes. And someone gave Bojan Bogdanovic a 3rd-place vote. Was whoever gave Bojan that vote, were they lying?
You know what I love, before I answer that question, I love about the voting process in the NBA is that at some point they're going to reveal everybody's name.
Really?
Yeah.
Who voted for who?
There are 100 voters, and they reveal what every voter voted for. And I want to see this fraud who picked Bojan Bogdanovic with a third. Yes.
That's what you're picking up here on this detector?
That person is fraudulent, and they know it. There's no way they did it in earnest. They knew that they were lying when they did it. We're going to find out. We're also going to find out who the hell didn't vote for Malik Monk.
You think he should be
I
6th
thought
man?
he ran away with it.
Wow.
Thought he ran away with it. Naz Reid had a great year. Malik Monk should have been 6th Man of the year.
Wow, you heard it here first, folks. Those oddball hot takes you can't get anywhere else.
All right, Charlotte.
People looking like
Hold
this.
on, let me cue this up on the. Okay, so Minnesota may credit its success so far to Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert, but the internet speculates that there's another candidate worthy of getting credit.
Who's that?
It's Red Panda. Now, I'm going to try and put up this tweet to your. Let me know if you see that. Hold on. Let me get this.
Yeah, here
up,
it
down,
is.
left, right. Okay, there you go.
No, that's Naz Reid. You pushed the wrong button.
Left,
I mean,
or left, right, up, down.
Can you push a different
side,
button?
Trigger. I got to hold them down at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Hold them down
Okay.
at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, there
There
it
it
is.
is.
Okay, so Timberwolves before Red Panda performed -1.
Yep.
Timberwolves after Red Panda performed +13.
Yep. That's what happened when she performed at halftime. Her plus minus is +13. Well,
Okay.
actually, it's +14 if you do the on-off.
Yeah. I detect no lies.
Really?
I detect no lies. Red Panda gets a crowd going. I talked about this on Pablo Torre Finds Out. The halftime performers are just as much a part of the game experience. They keep the crowd going for the players. At halftime, they keep the energy up. They keep everybody involved. Who is more mind-blowing than Red Panda? She's riding a unicycle, tossing bowls onto her head like this, except without the, antenna
The
thing.
sophisticated
I have
technology, yeah.
So, no, I
She
see
does
no
hers
lies.
analog.
Yes, she is analog bowls. I have a digital
Yeah.
bowl. Anyway, no lies detected here. I think that Red Panda is a difference maker.
I'm going to throw this out there. This might anger some people. Wait, hold on. Maybe I should type this in for you to detect the lies, see if I'm lying.
Okay.
Red Panda, past her prime.
Blasphemy. Get out. Get out. The segment's over. I can't co-host a show with you. Just kidding. We have a little bit more to get to. We got to close the show with some odds and ends. You can take your lie detector off if you want.
Because this thing, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, I know. Mine is a little too attached to my head to take off, but you can remove yours. The Timberwolves' Jaden McDaniels recently spoke with The Athletic about punching a wall in frustration and breaking his hand last year. And he said, quote, "It's embarrassing that I punched a wall. It's silly. I was down for a couple days. Sure." He said, "It would have been different if I got hurt playing, trying to battle just hurting myself, I felt selfish. Now, McDaniels locked down Kevin Durant in Game 2 against the Suns. He had 25 points, 8 rebounds. Is this the best redemption arc in the NBA right now?
Absolutely not. The best redemption arc? I mean, it's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
The cool story, his frustration last year, let him do the thing that maybe I'm just a sociopathic, soulless person, but I just don't understand people get so mad
that they punch a wall?
Punch walls. Like, it's just, I would never, no matter how mad I was, it would never occur to me like, that's the object of my ire.
I have punched a paper towel dispenser before.
Really?
Yeah.
Did
and
it
then
punch back?
I kicked a wall.
Oh, no. Was this the same incident or different incidents?
No, it both hurt. It was a very, those things, the wall and a paper towel dispenser that's metal, those are pretty tough.
The best redemption arc right now.
The Knicks?
Is the
Jalen
Knicks.
Brunson.
It's the Knicks. It's got to be the Knicks.
Yeah.
Right? So, unless the Heat win this series, in which case it's going to be the Heat.
Jesus. Do you know how I knew it was the Knicks? Because I still have my gear on. So it came right through into my brain.
All right. We've got a couple of Frenchmen.
What?
You think Rudy Gobert and Wembanyama is the end? No, it's merely the beginning. We got a couple of Frenchmen who are going to be among the top prospects in the draft.
What?
This year, yes. There's Zachary Rizache and Alexander Sarr. Alexander Sarr sounds like a bad guy from a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Plays by Alexander Sarsgaard.
There you go. Alexander Sarr, some people speculate, might be the number 1 overall pick, right? So, and he's a 7-footer and he's skilled like Wembanyama. Charlotte, how much pressure do you think Wembanyama is putting on the French?
A ton. You think anybody thought, like, no offense to Rudy Gobert, you think anybody thought, oh, French guys good at basketball before Victor Wembanyama?
I mean, Tony Parker, Boris Diaw.
Sure, right, okay. But like recently, like the French in basketball were not really in the cultural conversation. Then this massive Frenchman comes along. Also, by the way, I have not seen that many tall Frenchmen.
Let me just tell you right now, they were back in the conversation last year before Wembanyama played a game for the brief several weeks that Joel Embiid was a French citizen and was going to play for the French national team.
Right. Do you know that the president was so mad? Macron, the president of France?
The president of France.
He felt betrayed.
Yeah. So
Frederick Weiss.
Frederick Weiss. You got the president of France, you got Frederick Weiss against you.
Yeah, those are about on par with the same power in the world. No, I think that Wembanyama has done something to the French where they used to be able to be like, oh, we do not care about anything, and now they really have to care about basketball and they really have to care about being good, because if this guy's going to be the next overall pick, that's a lot of pressure on him.
You know what they call basketball in France?
Basketball.
Basket. That's it. Basket.
Sounds like Bisquick.
Almost. All right. Last story?
Yeah, let's do the last story. JJ Redick is reportedly
your good friend, JJ.
Yeah,
Redick.
my good friend and neighbor.
Yep.
Not to say where he lives.
You just gave it away.
Okay. Well, he is being interviewed for the Hornets head coach job. The Hornets were 21-6 this year, and JJ said on our good friend Pablo Torre's podcast he would be open to coaching. You think this happens?
It sounds like it's a little bit more than open. He interviewed for the job.
Right.
He interviewed for an opening.
Well, always take a meeting.
It's weird because obviously JJ's a smart player. He's a smart guy. He's a smart media guy. Coaching, this is my theory. You have to not have a life to be good at this thing. If you're someone who has life and options and things and stuff like that, this ain't for you. And I look at JJ, I'm like, JJ, you're smart. You got so much stuff going for you. Like, no, this is for the desperate. This is like the Tom Thibodeaus. The people don't want to see the sun. The only light they get is off the glare of their monitors as they watch film over and over again. Not to say that JJ is not capable of doing that. It's just at some point, if I live in a building that doesn't have an elevator, I'm used to taking stairs. If I live in a building that has an elevator, yeah, I can take the stairs. But at some point, I'm like, man, the hell with this. I'm taking the elevator. And I think, JJ, like, you've got other options in life, man. Don't be miserable.
Well, stick with Oddball. Don't be miserable. We're the elevator. Everybody else talking about basketball, the stairs.
She's telling the truth.
Hey everybody, it's Mike, and typically I record these Miller Lite spots in the studio, but I requested that I specifically record this one from my home office because I got a window and I'm looking outside at those beautiful fishtail palms, knowing that in just a few seconds I'm going to go out there, I'm going to crack open a can of Miller Lite, because while sitting outside by my fishtail palms is usually a good time, I like to take it up a notch and make it a Miller time. That's right, you crack that puppy open and you don't have to think about what you're drinking for a darn second. A lot has changed over the years, including my backyard. Lots of landscaping being done right now. But the one thing that hasn't changed is the undebatable quality of Miller Lite. You don't have to choose what quality is the best. Miller Lite has great taste and it's less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.